That's right. It is time for the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call, Copilot, SharePoint, Power Apps, and more. There's more to talk about on that little title change here soon, so stay tuned. But today is September 11th. We are excited for what we have in store for everybody on this call. So let's get into our agenda. We're going to have latest updates on the community. We're going to talk about things like the Copilot prompt of the week, PNP.NET libraries, PowerShell. Then we're going to take a little look at script samples, Copilot Pro Dev samples, Power Platform samples, and then everybody's favorite time, which is picture time. So get those fantastic faces ready. And then we have 3 super fantastic demos for the day. Robert or Bob Lamaster is going to be here for the first time, everybody. So let's make sure we show him all that community support, talking about custom fonts and Power Apps. And then Luise Freese, the M365 princess, is here to sparkle us with Mermaid JS to Dataverse, and then all rounded out with a little Power Apps YAML snippet tips with it good. So those Devo fans, stay tuned. There might be a little lyrical surprise for you at the end of that demo. Excited for that. Okay, so what are the resources that are available to each and every one of you? We have a plethora of them because it means a lot to us. See what I did there? It means a lot? Yeah, okay. So we will start with our YouTube channel, the Microsoft Community Learning Videos channel. This is something that is breaking all the rules in all the right ways. They keep telling us you should post less because guess what? You'll get better metrics. And we say, we don't care. We've got so much amazing content from the community. We want to share it each and every day, multiple times a day. So make sure you go subscribe to that to get all the latest updates that's coming out of Microsoft and the community. We've got our LinkedIn group for discussions, our open source tooling, all those sample galleries that I was telling you about that span things like SharePoint Framework and Power Platform list formatting. So many great resources, all 100% which are free. And you only need to remember 1 or maybe 2 URLs, ak.ms/community/home, or our fancy top-level community.ms domain will take you there as well. And if you like calls, because, hey, you're here, then we have calls that you can take advantage of. We've got our weekly Microsoft calls. It's just coming off that break that we had in during July and August where we had the community takeover. So now we're back to weekly Microsoft speakers. We've got our monthly Power Platform call. We've got our monthly Office add-ins. And you'll notice here that we also now are not listing SharePoint Framework out separately. So just a little quick update. We're just having every Thursday, still the same calls you know. We're just renaming them so they're simplified. So now everybody can demo on everything. We're covering all up Microsoft 365 Power Platform. It's happening weekly. It's covering things like Copilot, SharePoint, Power Apps, and more. Every Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to be here for you. We'll be updating all of the invites and links at our page on our community site, but you can get access to those by going to ak.ms/community/calls. And we'll provide more clarity on this as we get into it as well. Now, taking a look at that next Tuesday call, in fact, these are opportunities where you're going to hear from those program managers and those product managers. So on the 16th of September, we're going to hear from April and myself talking about the new Copilot Studio Agent Academy. That's super cool, where you can start learning more about Copilot and get one of those awesome badges. And then Paolo Pialorsi is going to be here talking about MCP Server for the Community Sample Gallery. And then Vesa, the one and only Dear Vesa, is going to round it out with Intranet Reimagined with AI, Copilot powered SharePoint. So excited to see all of those things. And if you want a demo on this call, we want you to demo. So as you're watching, you may be thinking, well, I got some cool stuff to show off. Well, we want you to show it off. So don't overthink it. You may think, well, is anybody going to find value in it? Absolutely. Lots of people are going to find value in it. So please do fill out the form, ak.ms/community/request/demo. I know it's just a slasher film, but it's great. It's going to be awesome. And we are going to get back to you, either myself or Vesa or Luise or one member of the team, and we will even buddy up with you. So if you've never presented and you kind of need a buddy to support you along the way, we're there for you as well. So don't hesitate, fill that form out, and we'll get back to you on scheduling. And as you're watching all of these cool samples available and you're like, well, I did create my own little utility script or sample. I'd love to submit it to one of these repos, but I don't know what that GitHub thing is. That's confusing. Sharing is Caring is back. It's gotcha. We've got it scheduled for October 13th. Just need to flip a couple of URLs to be live. So be on the lookout. We are going to have this session. What is Sharing is Caring? It provides hands-on guidance. It means that we're going to join live teams calls together, and we're going to learn how to do things like contribute to GitHub. We're going to demystify those terms, like what is a pull request, what is forking, all that kind of stuff that sounds really weird. It'll make sense at the end. And guess what? It is a safe space, which means that you can ask any and all questions because we don't record. So you're going to learn together, you're going to contribute, and what's super, super awesome is, hey, it counts as a contribution. And why does that matter when you join a Sharing is Caring session and it counts as a contribution? Because you can get a badge. So our recognition program is alive and well. It is considered a best in class by Credly, by the way. They have labeled us best in class, which is really attributable to all the hard work that you all are doing. So you can get some of these cool badges like Prompt Pro, Snippet Sorcerer, the Recruit badge from the Agent Academy, list formatting. We're in the middle of superhero season, so you can get that the Porcupine Rises bonus badge, and we're heading into Hacktoberfest, which just means you need to make one contribution during October, and you can earn this cool thematic Hacktoberfest badge. So make sure you're signed up. All you got to do is go to ak.ms/community/recognition. If you've already done it, great, no worries. You don't need to do it again. You do it once. We'll track all the work you're doing and make sure you are recognized. And it's 100% free. So don't hesitate to get signed up. We want to recognize you. These are real and accredited badges. They show that you are making a difference in the community. So show them to your clients, show them to your management, share them on LinkedIn, put them on your blog, put them on your resume, share them with the world, put them in a card, send them to mom. She'll be proud. I know we are. So check it out. Now let's move into some project-specific updates. Another opportunity to contribute to the community that's super easy because we've all been becoming love language linguists with Copilot. We know how to talk to it. We know how to prompt it. Share that with the world. You've likely found a prompt that's working for you and you use it often, maybe daily. Share it with the world. Let them know you can do that at the prompt library. And so you can get there at ak.ms/pnp-prompt library, and if you do, you could become the prompt of the week. So this is a perfect timing one from Tannel on Mermaid diagram chart generator. So we're going to see even more about this with Luise here in just a few minutes, but this is one that can assist you in kind of setting up a Mermaid diagram or chart for your use case. So congratulations, Tannel, awesome job, really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into some other projects. We're going to start with PNP.NET libraries. I think I saw Bert sneak in.
Yep, I'm here, David. Thank you.
Awesome.
Quick update this time, mainly because I didn't do my job maybe I didn't have time, whatever, but I didn't get to the PRs. There are several PRs in both framework and core that I really need to merge and process. We'll do those by next time. So apologies for the contributors, but anyway, really thanks for these PRs. So they're great, and we'll get them in soon. But for the rest, usage is still growing. So we keep on slightly growing. 136,010 and 66 billion requests. So I think it's really nice numbers. And with that, I think we can hand over to Gautam for the PowerShell update. Thank you all, folks.
Awesome, thank you. So Gautam is out at the Collab Days Finland today. So I think that Vess is going to cover it for him.
The other Finn is going to cover that. So I was there actually keynoting this morning, but I'm now back home at working because, hey, I work from Finland. But on the PNP PowerShell, the growth is there as well. So thank you, Bert, for updating the statistics. So there's a magnificent number, 56,000 monthly tenants, 66 billion requests. Now, we haven't actually rolled out a new version on the PNP PowerShell for a while, and same applies for PNP Framework and PNP Core. We're working on some technical logistics on actually making that happen. Don't worry about it. We'll get back on the release schedule pretty soon on those, so you get all of those pending capabilities available. Now, existing stuff which is available in the in PowerShell Gallery and Nuggets, all of that is completely fine. We're just pending on a few things to get sorted out on our release schedule with the PNP PowerShell, PNP Core, and .NET libraries. But more on that a bit later. Usage is growing. Amazing chart. That one's unbelievable number of tenants.
Absolutely.
Thank
incredible.
you.
66 billion. I mean, that's just it's billions of numbers. I don't even know if I can count that high. It's awesome. Yes. Thanks, everybody. Okay, let's move over to script samples with Paul Bullock.
Thank you, David. So script samples is a place where you can share your PowerShell scripts, Bash scripts with the community, and folks have, and we've got a new sample from Nandeep and Shmita Nashan. So with delete empty folders and SharePoint document library, which is super cool. So that's live on the site now, and everyone can then take benefit from that. So if you're thinking, perhaps I've got PowerShell script, or you've got some Unity scripts that you tend to sort of build up, then by all means, feel free to contribute to the repo. If you need any help, I am here to help you. I can be contacted on multiple channels, as you can see at the bottom there, if you need anything to move forward. And there's a badge in it for you using David's cool recognition program. So we have badges for that. So I appreciate your contributions as always. I'm really happy to see contributions always flowing through this. So thank you very much to those folks.
Awesome. And don't go anywhere, Paul, because we still got Copilot Pro Dev samples.
And this is another repo for Copilot Pro Dev samples, where you can share your Copilot Pro Dev samples with the community, much like the other one. So if you build things like declarative agents or declarative agents with API plugins, TypeScript for Copilot, of course, then this is the place to go. So we've got some samples here. We don't have any new samples this time, but we do have PRs in the pipeline brewing. So so we're working through those at some point. And there is also a companion library as well. So Copilot, this is Copilot Pro Dev samples, but there's also Copilot connector samples as well, as there's a link on the corner there. If you want to contribute in either of those repos as well. Both of these repos, so Hacktoberfest is obviously enabled on this one, as you can see by the tick there, and obviously the script samples as well. So we're ready for those submissions if you want to contribute to that program, which is super cool. So again, thank you very much for all of your contributions on both programs, and back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Great job on both those items. Appreciate all the help. Okay, Kate is out today, so just there's some new Power Platform snippets, which I love. So from Marcus, David, Steve, thank you all. Steve got the hat trick. Awesome job. These you'll learn a little bit more if you stick around in a fun Devo way today, by the way, everybody. So great job. Appreciate everyone. And you can contribute to these as well. And we have dedicated badges for a lot of these snippets and the snippet sorcerer. We'll talk about that today. So lots of opportunity. Well, what time is it? It is picture time. So get those fantastic faces ready. I have enabled together mode. Let's go with the dark chairs today. Let me move this over here. Everybody gets their camera turned on. Looking good. Oh, we're looking very clear today. The interwebs are working, which is awesome. All right, so let me do that. Do this. Come on, Camtasia. There we go. Let's move that out of the way. Turn this on. Turn that on. Okay. All right. So we're doing good on time. Actually, a few minutes ahead. I see Luise there doing the hearts. I see Casper, Vessa. I see Bob. Looking, all the favorite friends are here. I love it. Awesome. Okay, let's give it. I still see everybody popping in there. Looking good. Excellent. Okay, let's give it just another second. I know Teams is sometimes got to wake itself up when you turn the camera on, so we'll get that going. All right, let's do the countdown, everybody. It's 3, 2, jazz hands ready. All right, woo! Great to see you all. Thank you again for all that you're doing in the community. A really amazing work, inspiring. We would not be able to have opportunities or initiatives or events or projects without all of your contributions. So thank you. We absolutely love everything you're doing. So excellent job. All right, well, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. We are going to kick off the trio of demos today with Robert/Bob Lamaster. He is a first-time presenter on the call, everybody, so we want to show him all that great community support. He's going to talk about custom fonts and Power Apps. So, Bob, whenever you're ready, feel free to take on over the screen.
Oh, hi there. I apologize. Dr. Jones could not be here today. He found himself in a rather tricky situation. So we're going on an adventure today, and every great adventure starts with research. So we'll begin right here in the archives. Indy usually does these talks, so this is my first time presenting, as David said. My name is Bob Lamaster. I'm based in Texas, and I work for Kyndryl in digital workplace services. I've got 1 dog, 1 cat, and 1 wife, which, as I've been told, is the correct number of each. When I'm not here in the archives or out in the field, I've got a few hobbies that keep me busy, and of course, including the Power Platform. Now that you know who I am, let's dive right in. My story is a tale of a recent adventure Indy and I took. The story starts off, like most stories do, with a quest. That quest is to break out of the limitations of the 14 fonts included in Power Apps. The archives had given us a few leads on the location of some ancient wisdom, so off we set on our great adventure. The skies were turbulent, but we made it to the Temple of Locality. It was a curious place filled with stone bookcases and thick with dust. Towards the back of the temple, we came upon a pedestal with a small scroll on top. Upon unrolling it, we were astonished to find it quite legible. It described an ancient practice of using locally installed fonts in Power Apps. We discovered that you can simply write your Power Apps formulas to use any font on your local machine. It was quite simple, really. You could specify the font you wanted, and even a fallback font in case that one wasn't available. Was this the Holy Grail? Alas, we soon discovered that locally installed fonts were a trap. They only work if everyone is using the same operating system, the same device type, and has the same fonts installed. We dodged this giant boulder, and we vowed not to give up so easily. Avoiding that trap, we were off to pursue our next lead. We had heard stories of a mystic language of symbols that could hold the clue of using custom fonts in Power Apps. So Dr. Jones and I set off again on the next leg of our journey. This site was even more difficult to locate. Eventually, deep in the jungle, we found the Temple of Glyphs, covered from top to bottom in strange symbols. Rumor had it that this temple contained the secret of an arcane language called Base 64 or something like that could encode fonts directly inside Power Apps. On a rickety shelf carved into a wall, we discovered the scroll we were looking for, but the language was strange and confusing at first. After Indy translated it, we saw a complicated process of font download, conversion, formula manipulation, and image injection. It really looks like some childhood gibberish. Even after Indy translated it, it made my head hurt just to look at it. But again, it was a trap. While the fonts would be visible on all operating systems and devices, such a complicated process wasn't scalable, especially because it added significant bloat to our apps. So what now? Just when we had thought we had found a solution. There must be a real way to get external fonts into Power Apps. There was only one more lead to pursue. Although we were getting weary from our journey, we boarded the twin prop and set out again. As we approached our final stop, a golden glow shimmered in the distance. We pulled in closer and discovered a breathtaking cache of precious gems and gleaming gold. I was flabbergasted. Indy, though, he was completely unfazed. He was staring past the treasure and at the wall behind it. And there it was. Etched into the stone in ancient pixel-perfect lettering, it said, "Make a PCF control, but don't embed your fonts." Wait, what? But then we heard a whisper from the shadows, and it said, "Use the font loader." I thought, huh? What's a font loader? And who's that whispering like the last surviving web developer from MySpace? Just then the ground trembled. A small box rose from the earth at our feet. Indy opened it slowly, and inside was a single scroll. Upon the scroll, we discovered the Holy Grail. Okay, maybe not the Holy Grail, because Indy had already found that, but this was a close second. The voice had said not to embed or include the fonts we needed in PCF controls, and it said something cryptic about a thing called the font loader. I still wasn't getting it, but Indy seemed to understand. I must have been a little dense, so Indy broke it down for me. PCF controls are always the solution if you need to extend the native capabilities of Power Apps. Unfortunately, even in PCF controls, Power Apps won't include any fonts you try to bundle. That's a restriction both in Webpack, which PCF scripts uses a custom version of, and even if you override Webpack, Power Apps will still ignore those fonts. It won't even put them into the blob storage of your application. But you can get past this whole thing with a simple key, and that is to load the fonts at runtime. He explained that the font loader as a module fetches fonts at runtime. In other words, your fonts aren't even in your app until the page loads. As a control, the font loader can be used by makers in the place of text or label controls whenever custom text is needed without bloating their page code. And then, of course, As we're here for, I'm going to show you a demo. But shield your eyes. It could be like the Ark of the Covenant. Only the worthy should gaze upon it. So let's take a look. So I'm going to show you two versions of the control. The first one is an interactive one that you actually fill out the parameters right while the app is running. And to do that, we'll just do a quick sample here. Now this font loader can use Google Fonts or it can use a CDN. But I need a font name. This is actually the font family name. So if I go to Google, so if I get a font family name, like let's take Story Script, I just want to look for this line that says font family and copy that and put it right in here where it says font name. Now I don't need a CDN because I'm not using my own CDN. Let's skip the text for a second, go to font size 40 and font weight 400 is a good one. And I can left justify it, center it right. I can even supply a color. But let's type in some text. And you can see that font is immediately rendered with whatever font family that I've put in here and the other parameters. So this is all great, but you don't want all these fields if you go to use this on your maker canvas. So here's a clean control. You can see here by simply supplying the parameters through the maker portal, just like you would for any other control, you can get custom text. And for those of you who are into making PCF kind of things, which is not for everybody, it's rather straightforward to use the module. You simply import it, and then you provide the parameters, and you call the module, just load font with the config that is defined above, and it will return back the CSS code for using that font, and that is simply appended right to the text that you want to use it in. So it's all fairly straightforward. All right, so where can you get the font loader? You'll find it right here. Whether you're looking for a simple control to use in the maker canvas, or you want to use the font loader to develop your own PCF controls, you'll find it at that GitHub address. And everybody needs a little help from time to time, so let's roll the credits. First of all, a huge shout out to a gentleman named Eichel Mendoza, who demonstrated this method at a C# conference. Without that, I wouldn't have been able to make the font loader. Secondly, I want to acknowledge Copilot. I am not a coder, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without being able to bounce ideas off of Copilot. If you haven't tried using Copilot for code, it'll save you a lot of time doing the initial grunt work and the debugging. So with that, I wish you good fortunes, and it's off to the next adventure.
Bob, awesome job. Really appreciate it. You get your own individual claps and crowd cheer. So thank you. Great storytelling. I also love how you underscored that you're not a coder, and that's okay. You figured it out, right? Through the support of the community, it underscores the community. It underscores how we can do more together. Just love everything about this. Amazing job. We can't wait to your next one. So thank you so much. Excellent job. All right, Luise, feel free to take on over the screen if you would like. As I get introduced, my dear, it is Luise Freese, the M365 princess, here to sparkle us all, and she is going to talk about Mermaid to Dataverse. Take it away.
That is correct. Everyone can hear me okay?
Yes, yep.
That's cool. Okay, so let's get this party started. So this is another video intro. No, this is just like PowerPoint. So I would like to get started. It's the Mermaid to Dataverse Access. I'd like to initialize my speaker module. So hi, my name is Luise Freese. I'm an Azure and Power Platform architect based in Germany. I'm an MVP. I'm a mother of teenage dragons. They are my daughters. I'm known for changing the world one app at a time, and I have a serious rage against Visio. I'm usually running pink, and session objectives for today are turning entity models into working Dataverse schemas, leveraging Azure, and deploying everything securely and repeatably. So ClickOps will be disabled for today, and let's get into it. So usually when I consult with my customers, they really have to think about their data first. And that is something that they will want to try to avoid at all costs. And they really have a hard time to articulate what they need and to grasp how everything will come together. And obviously, entity relationship diagrams will help with the visualizing part, but they are disconnected from your Dataverse environment. And that means it's just a pretty picture. And that means endless reviews and feedback loops, because you draw and draw again, and then you present this to stakeholders, and then they give feedback, and then you need to change the tiny little thing again, and then you need to draw again. And then Luise gets angry at Visio again. So I'm really not into ClickOps. I hate clicking around in portals and doing non-repeatable stuff. So we know that infrastructure as code is just like way more superior. And in Azure, we already established several cool ways on how to ensure to have repeatable deployments. For example, with Bicep, which is my favorite. But if you want to do Terraform, that's fine as well for me. And that means that your deployment definition is code, and that can be logged into source control, which is cool. And for Power Platform, we have Power Platform pipelines, we have the Power Platform build tools for Azure DevOps, but that then only works if you already have a solution that you can then export from somewhere. And that means that there is a poor soul that needs to build the solution with all the tables and so on and so forth. And that poor soul usually is me, and then me and the rage against Visio. You get the drift. Okay. So I would like to treat everything as code. And that also means I would like to have the definition of what I need to build as code. And there Mermaid.js comes to the rescue. So for everyone who does not know what is Mermaid, Mermaid is a diagramming and charting tool, and it's based on JavaScript. And it renders kind of markdown-inspired text definitions and will then create and modify dynamically your diagrams. And you can do all sorts of diagrams with Mermaid.js, like flowcharts or mind maps, but also entity relationship diagrams, ERDs. So this here is a Mermaid ERD, pun intended. And this will be the solution that we will be talking about today. So what you can see here at the very top is we do have a definition. It's ER diagram that just like tells Mermaid which kind of diagram it is. It is not a flowchart, but that is an entity relationship diagram. And then we have a couple of tables. We have the account table, the contact table, and then we have an event, a location, and an event attendee table. And all of these tables, they come with a column type, a column name, and a column description. Column description, incredibly important for accessibility reasons and also for good usability, because the description becomes the tooltip in the model-driven app later on that will be connected to your Dataverse table. So please always fill that out. And then here right at the bottom, we see that we do have relationships. Account to event attendee, contact to event attendee, event to event attendee, and the location to the event. And if that is a little bit too abstract for you, that on the left hand here translates and renders directly to this on the right hand here. So that is absolutely the same. In case you were wondering, that is something that I did in Microsoft Loop. And Copilot helped with that, obviously. So you can use Copilot to just like have those Mermaid ERDs for you generated. And on the left-hand side, that is something that is basically code as it is text, and that is versionable. And on the right-hand side, that's the very same thing. It renders quite nicely, for example, in Loop. And this is very, very easy for even very non-technical people to read, like stakeholders in a project. So the next logical step then would be to build a tool that would transform the Mermaid ERDs into Dataverse tables and columns and relationships, right? And support, let's say, nearly all data types. And as Mermaid does not support choices or choice columns, finding a neat way on how to create or select from the global choices that already exist in your environment, or have the ability to create new global choices. And then let users decide if they want to add to an existing solution with an existing publisher, or if they want to start from scratch. Yes, so that is what I actually did. So I built that tool. So that's my tech stack. It's React 18 with TypeScript, and it's Fluent UI, and it's Vite. And for Vite, huge shout out to Marcin, who showed everyone how fast Vite works. And I love everything about it. So big shout out to him. Thank you. For authentication and authorization, to make calls to the Dataverse API, you need to have a Dataverse application user that needs to be associated with an Entra app registration. And that app registration, of course, that has a secret, and I store this secret in a key vault. Then I use a managed identity to access that key vault so that I can just like very securely retrieve that secret. And my backend is in Node.js, and everything is deployed to an Azure web app. That was just like a little bit abstract. Here is the beautiful image for that. So once again, we have that application user here on the right-hand side associated with the app registration. Client is stored in the key vault. We will access the key vault with the managed identity that is used by our Azure web app. Okay, so please pray for demo gods to be nice. And I will just like show you how this works in theory and in practice as well. So as you can see, this is localhost because right before the session, I needed to do some super final touches. And I did not deploy them to Azure yet. So please forgive me for that. So this is an easy 4-step process, as you can see here in this progress bar. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to upload a file. And of course, I prepared this already for you, and I will use the very same example that I used in the slide. And it will do two things for me. It will tell me, yes, your file got uploaded, congratulations. And second, CDM entities were detected. So if you're not knee deep into the Power Platform, then you might not know what is a CDM entity. So every single Power Platform environment comes with common data model tables that are already pre-installed for you. And two of those are account and contact, and you may reuse them for literally every single application that you will build, and it makes building on Power Platform super easy and very, very streamlined. And you can now choose if you want to reuse those CDM entities, which is best practice and highly recommended, or if you really want to go rogue and create custom entities with the same name, and it's highly advised against that. So I will use the CDM entities. It will now tell me, yeah, Luise, that's fine, cool, but your Mermaid diagram, that was not picture perfect. And this is why I get a little bit of information over here and even 2 warnings. And the information says, yeah, in your entity event, that has a column called status. But every table that you will create, just like if you create a naked table, there will be already columns that are predefined. Like in a SharePoint list, you have columns, they are just there, even if you did not add them. And that is, for example, the status column. And if you try to then add another status column, it will tell you, hey, that already exists. So we do not want you to just like get into this error. So I will just like safely ignore your status column if you don't, if you really want to proceed with this diagram. Second, that happens for the 3 custom tables that we did before. And then there is a naming conflict because I uploaded a Mermaid diagram that said, hey, in my entity events, there is a non-primary column that is called name. And if you create a new table in Dataverse, that will automatically have a primary column, and that is called name. So there will be a conflict. So I will present you with some fixes, and you can choose if you want to apply them. So you could say, hey, the column name will be event name for my event table, or it will be location name for my location table. And I can choose to just like apply those fixes over here. And then the warnings go away and only the information message bars will stay here. I am then presented with my complete ERD, which considers already the suggested fixes so that I can review that once again. And I already see my corrected Mermaid diagram that is now correctly rendered. So a thing that I did yesterday evening, because very important to ship this. Obviously, there is dark mode. And then also this diagram renders nicely in dark mode. But more importantly, so I'm the princess, so I did a pink mode, and the diagram adjusts to that as well. So next thing is our parsed schema overview. So we see we have the CDM integration with the account and the contact table. We have 3 custom tables over here, and they already have just like the data types that we defined. So this got automatically detected, and I have the relationships over here that I want to provision. So I go to next, solution and publisher. I can now choose if I want to create either a new solution or if I want to use and add to an existing solution. If I want to add to an existing solution, I can search for that, and then it would just like tell me, okay, so which one do you want to use? I can do that, but for now, I would just like create a new solution. So this will be PMP Luise, which looks fine to me. It will automatically generate the internal name that does not consist of any spaces in here. I can choose whether or not I want to add the related tables already to my solution, because as you can imagine, the accounts table, for example, has relationships to other tables again. And if I want to add them or not, I will choose to not do this for now. Now onto the publisher, either an existing one or a new one. I will create a new one, PNP. Let's go for Luise, which has 8 characters, and that is the maximum, and it will be automatically created here for me. I will proceed to the global choices, which is already my 3rd step. So in each and every single Power Platform environment, there are 148 built-in global choices that you might want to sync your choice column to, which is very cool. And I can now here search for the ones that I like. So maybe I want priority and approval stage, but also I can choose a file and upload a JSON definition to create my new global choices. So I will show this to you, which over here. So that here is the very same file. So I have just like a global choices array that contains of a team assignment and a experience level global choice with some values in here. And I will upload that file. And I was very creative, global choices 1. So please clap for that. It will again tell me, hey, you uploaded this successfully, congratulations to you, and it will show me the global choices and their individual values already here. Next step would be deploying, so I will review this quickly. So I have my solution, I have my publisher, perfect, I have the custom entities, I love those, I have the relationships, perfect, I have the CDM integrations. I have the global choices, both of the one that I selected that are were already existing, and also the ones that I uploaded from my JSON file. And now I go to deploy to Dataverse, and now it will be deploying. So this now will take just like roughly 4 or 5 minutes. So let's see if we can get back to that later on. Obviously, I did a dry run just like before the session to just like show you what is the end result of that. And the end result, you can see that was just like here 35 minutes ago. So I just like did that right before the session. So what we can see is that we have the account and contact table added, and that we have 3 new tables, and these 3 new tables, obviously, they have relationships with each other. So you can see here the account reference and the attendee type, and all the lookup columns were already applied to. And also we have the global choices, so the approval stage and experience level and priority and team assignment. And you can see which one of those were selected global choices and which one carry the prefix that I defined. And for the dry run, I chose a prefix called dry run. So let's get back to some slides. Yeah, so as you can imagine, to just like see, okay, so what's in that table and how to pass those values to the Dataverse Web API, I would say welcome to regexcel. And what I needed to do is I needed to establish some key parsing patterns. So for entity detection, so that I got from customer fancy brackets entity colon to that it should be the customer table. Then I needed to do relationship extraction, so that I got from customer double pipes then --o to a one-to-many relationship, and then the attribute parsing for the different column names, column types, and column descriptions. And then I defined an output structure so that I could pass that then into my Dataverse calls. For the Dataverse API, so I have just like several endpoints for publisher management, solution management, for the option sets, and for the entity and relationship creation. But that was just like seriously the easy part once the parsing was done. In case you wonder how that is built, so I tried to do this as modular as possible, because that really helps with debugging and testing everything properly. Everything, of course, is open source. You can dig into the code if you like to. And you might ask, yeah, Luise, that's cool, but what about Plan Designer? You just need to prompt that. You do not need that, all of that. And to that I say, well, prompts aren't code. So they look like they could be versioned, but they are not deterministic. That means that the very same words might give you a totally different schema tomorrow, or a slightly different schema, and you can't predict that. And that makes deployments unpredictable and non-repeatable. And please do not come at me and just like, it's just a POC. No, those always land in prod. So I can't really advocate for that. So how do you deploy the solution? So I do have a PowerShell script that uses Azure CLI to just like create the app registration and the application user and assign the correct security role. And that will kick off the Azure Resources deployment with a bicep template. And I will put the secret into the key vault and remove all the temporary permissions that were needed to do so. And yes, that runs idempotent. So if you already have something, it will just like handle this gracefully, and you can just like continue, and it will not just like, yeah, this app registration already exists. No, we handle this gracefully. And then there is another PowerShell script to deploy the Azure Web App, for example, after you made a code change. So if you want to go for Star Wars theme, purple theme, and so on, and you want to deploy that, you do not need to just like run through the entire thing again, but you can do subsequent deploys after code changes. Yes, so this project started as a very, very simple local Node.js app with literally 3 files and under 100 lines of code. And this evolved over time into a proper project, including docs and tests and the public GitHub repository. You can find that at github.com/LuiseFreese/Mermaid. Thank you to everyone I had the pleasure to learn from, and sharing is caring. Thank you.
Woo! Awesome again. Wow, we have on fire today. On fire. Thank you, Luise, for sharing this. Tons of amazing love in the chat river for the call today. Great stuff. I think that we need to have like a Mermaid V2 coming out soon from you on some stuff. So very, very cool. You are amazing. Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, let's get into our last demo of the day. I will be handling this. We are going to talk about Power Platform Snippets. Specifically, we're going to take a little dive into the Devo world of the 80s with it good, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that first. I am David Warner. Typically here with me is April Dunham. We both are very passionate about this topic. We've set up badges. We've done a lot of videos. So please like and subscribe and follow us on YouTube, because we have all kinds of cool information there that covers this spectrum of snippets, as well as other areas of reusability components within Power Platforms, such as component libraries and all that good stuff. So what's in store for us? Well, what are snippets? You might be brand new to them. We're going to briefly go over what they are. We're going to talk about the with function overview, and then we're going to with it good for snippets and see how we can do that. We see inspired by our little Devo Lego man there that is ready for us. All right, so what are snippets? Well, you can use them in Power Apps. You can use them in Power Automate, Copilot Studio. They are available to you. Essentially, it's just YAML. So what is YAML? Well, it started out as something called yet another markup language, kind of like XML, kind of like JSON, and then it got tired of being considered that, and it changed its name to YAML ain't markup language. So it's gone through a little bit of an identity crisis, but it is still super, super powerful for us. So let's jump into a demo right away. We're going to see how Devo would with it, and we'll enjoy the show. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to go over here into Power Apps. So let's start out with a little bit about the with function. What is it? Well, when you look at with, I've got some context here that I'm going to set. I'm in Power Apps. I've got a label here that we're going to use, and I've got an out-of-the-box image. Real simple stuff. Okay, so I'm going to come over to my text label here, and the typical text that's there, I'm going to replace that, and I'm going to start typing with. All right, and of course, we know we get a little bit of information here, so it's always good to be understanding of what with is, what the information is we're with. So it tells us the first thing is scope, and that's a fancy way of saying you're going to get a record there, and there's multiple values that you could have in that record that then you're going to be able to reference within your formula. So it makes it easy to make changes down here in the formula area with information that you've had stored there in scope. Did I get you? Am I making my point clear? I can't tell. Right. Okay, so there we go. So what does that look like? Well, the thing that I like to say about the with function is that it is like a mutant shapeshifter, because its data type that it outputs can be different based on what you have in that formula value, right? So what does that look like? So I'm going to take a couple things here. I'm going to start just copying and pasting some stuff for efficiency. And we'll log in and we'll format the text. So what I'm doing is I'm creating that scope area first. It's essentially record of one or more values. So I'm creating the key value, or the key called app version. And then I'm just taking the app and calling it grabbing the studio version. And then within my formula, what I'm doing is I'm outputting a text string concatenated with that key value variable that I created in my record, right? So what does that look like down below here? Well, you can see I've got app version and 3.25, whatever the version is, right? Now, the key that I want to point out, though, is whenever you highlight your code here in Power Apps, you're able to see the data type, right? So I want to point this out, because what we've got is we've got a text type. That means it's outputting text. Well, yeah, that seems to be no problem, right? Duh. We've got text here, we've got a variable here, and we're concatenating the two together. Simple stuff. It's going to get more complex and show you the power of it. But what if we added additional information there into our particular record and output, right? So I'm going to paste that there, format, because the pasting don't like me. What I've done is I've added another key, right? Image info, and just a sample image control, right? That's just a sample image that's included in every Power App that you can reference for that little kind of, looking placeholder image, right? And what I've done is I've now said image info, and down here in the actual text area, it's outputting the text value of that image. So it's not actually outputting the image, it's converting it because I'm using a string combined with the image, even though that is an image. And so again, look here, it's seeing it as text. Okay, so now what's interesting though is if I remove the label from that, I just remove from my formula area and I just have the image info, and let me shrink that, there we go. And now if I were to highlight this, what's your guess on the data type it would be? Well, let's find out. When I select that, whoa, look at that, shape shifted. It's an image. Now, because it's in a label, it's still showing the text value of that label, right? So it's smart enough to say, hey, you're putting this into a text area, although I can't show an image in the text label. So I'm going to convert the actual label value or the image value into a label. But what's cool is what if I were to now add this into the actual image control, right? So I got an image control over here, just using that sample image. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another with, right? And I'm going to select all, paste, format, there we go. And I select, right, data type image. And of course, it doesn't look any different because I'm just using that sample image, right? So visually, you don't see any difference, but we do see now it is outputting an image. And hey, by the way, do we have to use an actual image here that's uploaded into media? Well, no, I'm so glad you asked. We could actually use a text URL to an image, right? So if I do that, What I'm doing now is I'm taking a URL just to my logo on my blog site, and I'm putting that in for the image key, right, which is a value in that record, and now I'm outputting it as image. And what's interesting, again, the smarts of Power Apps is that it sees it as text, because that's really what this is. But because Power Apps says, hey, it is text, but you put it in an image control, and now I'm going to convert it to an image. So it's doing the opposite of what the text label did down here, which is kind of super cool, right? So giving you some context to the power of with. There's so much more to it. Like I said, it's like a mutant shapeshifter, which is going to give you a lot of power. So what can that look like in the scope of a particular YAML snippet? Well, let's come down to another example. Here we go. We have, for example, this gallery. I've created a gallery here, and I've used this before, and we've got a SVG that is acting as the frame, right? So all these little Lego pieces and stuff like that, they are kind of framing my gallery. It's a creative way to do galleries. I don't see a lot of people doing this, and I've got a lot more coming out on this, so stay tuned. But I'm excited because when you talk about galleries, you've got layers that you can work with, right? So what if I wanted to change the colors within my galleries, or within my SVG, I should say, SVGs are nothing but XML, right? So when I come in here, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And if I were to scroll through here and try to find like, well, wait, where's purple, right? If someone's pasting this in and going to reuse it, well, now I've got to be like, well, where's purple? I want to change purple. Oh, okay, well, there it is right there. Let's go for an Oompa Loompa, green and orange. The experience is not great. And so if you're giving someone a YAML snippet, which is a modular piece of code that can be copied and pasted between an app or into a brand new app, it's all about presentation. It's all about adoption. Make it easy on them, right? This is not an easy experience when you're dealing with SVGs. But by the way, you should be using SVGs or Base64 for your images because they carry over perfectly, right? So, okay, let's get back into that's without, right? So I've got a little bit without. No, that's not good. So what can we do with? If we start implementing with, how can we make that work? So here's the exact same gallery. I'm going to come down to my frame. And what I've done now is I've implemented the with here. So what I've done is at the top of the with, I've created my record, which has something called primary brick color, secondary brick color, purple and orange. So now I don't have to go searching down here to find exactly where I want to change it. I've already set up my SVG so that it's referencing that per primary brick. And I can find it here by just doing a search. We see it right down there. I've got a few different areas that it is, right? So if I go back to the top and we change that purple to green, now that makes it super easy, right? It's super easy to do it and make that change totally doable. And again, if I wanted to make changes elsewhere, I wanted to change orange to something else, I could do that. If I wanted to make more than just the two, I can do that. So you can kind of see what with does in the scope of a YAML snippet is when someone pastes it into a new app, it makes it much more adjustable and dynamic, and they can change it with ease. It's all about adoption, making it easier on your makers, your new makers, your experienced makers. Everybody wants less work to do, so make it easy on them. Now, this is as simple as it gets. Very, very cool, right? But did you know, wait, there's more. We can do more. Did you know that you can use an if within your with? If within with? You betcha. So let's take a look here. We're back inside of our Lego outfit here, right? And so up here, I've got the same thing going on right here. I've got the with. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is I've also got a background color for my frame, right? So right over here, and you can't see because it's all white, right? Now, what does that why does that matter? Well, it's because this is off of Dataverse. So if I come over and look at Dataverse, and I go to edit data, and come on, you can do it. I'm pulling in the images here, right? But I've also got a background color. Let me scroll over here. There we go. I've got a background color toggle flag, right? So some of these have transparent PNGs, some of them don't, some of them white. So I'm saying, hey, for those that are transparent, I want to be able to put on a background color and make it look nice, right? Super cool. Okay, so I need now some conditional statements to do that with. So how can that work? Well, right now, if I wanted to, I could add an if value actually here within my record area. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a comma, paste that in there. And so now what I'm doing is I'm saying if this item, because that's referencing the individual items within my gallery, right? I'm checking the background color, equals yes, I want it to be violet. Otherwise, I want it to be white. Now, you'll notice nothing changed here. That's because I didn't change or add my key value right over there. So let me take background color, and I'm going to come over and replace that with background color. And now you'll notice that everything here is adjusting dynamically based on the data in my Dataverse. How awesome is that, right? So the width isn't just about making changes, it's about reacting to data that is dynamic. So it's super, super cool. Now we're running a little low on time. I do want to say that there's a lot of other things you can do. I'll come back to show off some other things. For example, you can use width to set up things like animations, right? Notice I'm in a gallery and I'm able to animate each of these individual gallery items for a nice little scrolling effect. And it happens, there's lots of different use cases. So it is so creative, the different ways in which you can use width. And again, I'll have to show that off in another time. But I do want to show you that here, when I do this, if I come in, and this is the wow factor, right? I've got my code here. I copy this. I go into a brand new app onto a brand new screen, and I paste. Everything is going to work. Boom, look at that, because I've hard-coded data in it. The width works because it's using modular information of SVGs. So now when I paste this in to go reuse it, it works, and I can replace the data with live data, and it's super awesome, right? So really, really cool. Okay, let's wrap this up, everybody. And I gotta say, get ready. I promise you a lyrical snack. You're gonna love it. You're gonna hate it. We'll see. Let's go. When a snippet comes along, you must with it. If your content feels too long, you must with it. When the formula goes wrong, you must with it. Now with it, into shape, scope it up, get straight, go forward, move ahead, try to refactor. It's not too late to with it good. There you go. Woo, oh my goodness. Okay, so there's some resources here. Yeah, I cracked myself up. All right, some resources, check them out. We'll put them in the links. We'll put them in the chat. We'll put them in YouTube. We'll share them with everybody. Let's wrap the call up. Thank you for amazing presentations from Bob and Luise. And hopefully you enjoyed the one from mine. It's a lot of fun today, everybody. You can be part of this too. Please don't hesitate to submit. We have our official Discord server, which is available to you as well, with over 2,900 members. So it's a great one-stop shop to be involved in other areas of the community, kind of in one location. Super, super cool. Check it out, aka.ms/community/Discord. And then we've also got our feedback form, so please let us know how things are going. And as we had mentioned, we're normalizing these calls. So the next Microsoft 365 Power Platform call will be next week, September 18th. The weekly product updates, which is the Microsoft call, you'll start hearing it called that. Microsoft call is on Tuesday, September 16th. So all those invites you've already got are going to work. Don't worry. All those AKA links you've already got are going to work. Don't worry about getting anything updated if you already have those invites. Everything's going to work. You're just going to be seeing a little bit of a name change. Thank you, everybody. Amazing job today. Please keep up the inspiring work. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.